What's up, you guys? It's 2bricks, and if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know that quality is one of the biggest concerns that I have when it comes to my models, especially the ones that I put up for sale, for purchase, for you guys to be able to get the instructions and build those models for yourself. So today we're going to be taking a look at my T-65 X-wing model, which I have here in front of me. And we're going to be seeing how a lot of you guys pointed out an issue that existed within the model where the S-foil mechanism, while it is very smooth in opening and closing, was having trouble staying open at the highest point. And that's something that is a feature that almost all of the Lego official sets have the ability to lock open in that nice kind of stay in that top position, and that's something that if you're playing with it, you definitely want to be able to have. So to me, it was kind of unacceptable that my version did not have the ability to reliably stay open, and when you're playing with it, be able to have that. So what I've done is I've gone back and kind of reverse engineered a solution into the internals of this, which requires a very, very minimal amount of additional parts. I think it's was less than 10 parts, I'm pretty sure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how that now works, and I'm going to also show you how to make those modifications for yourself if you have indeed purchased this. And I've also gone ahead and updated the official listing on Rebrickable, which now has this version of the instructions. So anybody who's purchasing it from this point will get the new version and have that functionality built in from the start. So yeah, that's just kind of a little, why we're here. And I just want to show you guys how the function actually works, like how nice it is now in comparison to before. And then I'm going to do a little tutorial on how to, very minimally just kind of take some things apart and do the adjustment on the internals here. So yeah, let's take a look at the new wing function first. All right, you guys, so here I have the X-wing, and exactly the same as before. Nothing's changed on the actual mechanism. You push on the button underneath, and now at the top position here, my finger is no longer holding onto it. It just stays in place. So it's actually a huge improvement, because before, if you wanted the wings to stay in place, you had to really jam this in here, and you had to really, really push on it, and then most of the time it would stay. And I think part of the reason that this was an issue is because my particular parts that I used to build my model and design it with had a little bit more tolerance as far as clutch power. And a lot of you guys were telling me that the parts that you had did not have any clutch power at all to them, so that was creating this issue. So now you can see you just very gently push on it, and there's a stud, there's a bar and a pinhole in here, which engage with one another when the wings are in the up position, and that just keeps it nice and locked. You can still do this, which I really like. And the cool thing now is too, if you just lift up the wing, even just that amount of force of just gently lifting up the wing, it will close into place and it will just stay up. The fact that I was able to maintain all of the external aesthetics of it, nothing has changed from the outside whatsoever, because I was really, really happy with how all that looked, is a huge bonus. So let's jump in and see what I did and how you can do it yourself. All right, you guys, so these are all the parts that you will need right here. It's actually just a humble 5 parts, which I think is pretty cool. But I have a quick note about this piece right here. There are 2 versions of this piece that exist: the 5mm length bar that sticks out and the 6mm length bar. And you're going to want to have the 5mm one, which is the most common and the newest one. The 6mm was used back in the olden days, but I think that Lego realized that having the ability to plug these parts in like this and have them then line up with studs so that you can have a 3-wide or a 3-stud wide build here was much more useful than the 6mm, which would not fit into that. So this spacing is what we're relying on to make this work, and if you don't have the correct bar size there, it will mess it up, and you'll just end up popping off the top of this piece right here when you try to close the wing, because it won't line up correctly. So just a note to keep in mind going forward. All right, so we're going to be digging around in this middle section here quite a bit. So I think the easiest thing to do to start off with is to just remove each of these wings. They're just held in with a couple of Technic pins each. So I just take each one of those off. You can actually do them, I think, both 2 at a time. Yeah, there you go. A little stiffer, but easier to do. So with the wings off, we can kind of have a little bit of an easier time accessing this. And if you want to, you can also just go ahead and pop off the entire front half of the body here, of the fuselage, which I think, where is it? Right there. So there's a part here where it connects in with all of these jumpers that goes from the 6 wide build to the 5 wide build at the back, or sorry, transitions from the 5 to the 7 wide build. You know what I mean. It's these jumpers that get you to the front part of the fuselage. So if you disregard that and you just have this back section, it makes your life a little bit easier as well, and I just think that's cool. So that's how we get prepped, and then here are the pieces that we'll need, so let's dive in. All right, so I have my handy dandy brick separator here, and I'm going to just show you what to start taking apart at first. So this section here is a 2x4 plate, which has this detailing on it, and that's what helps to connect to the front, of the fuselage there with this double jumper plate. So I'm just going to take that off and put it to the side. There are no changes that will happen to that. So then this whole top section here is built as a sub-assembly, and that is going to want to come off. So the easiest way, I think, for me, I found, is to just push up under these cheese wedges here a little bit and just sort of start to work these parts loose. And then at the back here, you can just get your brick separator in under this ridge here and just sort of work this loose. And you should be able to get the whole top section off pretty cleanly. So yeah, that's excellent. So this actually contains these bricks, these profile bricks here, which are part of this sub-assembly in the actual instructions. So that came off exactly as it should, so that's good. But if you don't, just try to sort of get it to where, oops, I knocked off a detail piece back here. Let me just pop that back in. There we go. So yeah, just try to get it to look like this before we proceed, because I think it just makes your life a little bit easier. So the next thing that we're going to take off, this also has no changes to it, by the way. We're just accessing the part that we need to change. So the next part is this central beam here that runs across the middle and holds the whole structure together. And you're going to want to make sure that you get all of the plates under here, the 2x plates that grab onto this at the bottom. So I'm just going to use my brick separator and just pull that out. So let me just keep working it until it comes free, because that is an important part of the structure that we need to change. It doesn't want to come off. All right, let me go in a different angle here. So as you can see, doing it live like this, there are going to be some parts that, hopefully if I'm struggling with it and you're struggling with it, then that lets you know that it's okay to struggle with that part. So, okay, so yeah, this part we're going to be changing up a little bit. And then this part up at the front here, we're going to be removing, and we're going to be changing just this front section here. So with that, oh, actually, sorry, I want to just remove one additional element here. So this 1x4 plate, I'm going to take that off. And these 1x2 plates, I'm going to take those off as well. We're going to be using those in a different section in a different way. So I'm just going to keep them here, but that's everything that you need to remove to do your modifications. So with that, we can go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this front section here with the whole brick and pin assembly, and just remove it from that part right there. And I'm going to take off these two 1x2 plates, and we're going to need those in a second. But I'm going to discard this, put it in my little side discard pile here. And then I'm going to take off these plates here, these two 1x2s. I'm going to separate them, and I'm going to place them right here. So on either side of the gearbox. So where previously we had a stud on either side and then a 1x4, we're leaving a gap here now, and we're filling these in on the side. So that's that. Next, I'm going to take this assembly here, which is the main kind of portion that holds the whole thing together, and I'm just going to remove one of these 1x2s here, or not one of them, this one specifically, and I'm also going to take off this part right here, and I want to put that to the side. So we have those that are removed. So then I'm going to flip this around, take off this top section, I'm going to move it to the back here. Wait, it wants to sit, yeah, there. And the reason that I'm doing that is because this is going to be the new front of our lever arm here, so I'm just reversing the order of that. And then I'm going to take my 5mm bar piece, and I'm going to insert that under here. And this is going to be what allows everything to happen. So it's super crucial. This is like the main kind of crux of it. So I'm going to reattach that in here. I'm going to squeeze it down. Oops, I keep losing this, this little detail piece. I have a feeling that this tile right here is failing structurally. So I've actually mentioned this before. There's a problem in the design. Oh, you can see there's a crack there. So there's a problem in the design of these tiles that I hope that LEGO fixes, because they, after a little while, they tend to fail. And that's a kind of an annoying thing. So I'm just going to leave that to the side for now because it'll keep falling off, but it's just this little piece from in here. Yeah, Lego, if you're listening, please address this issue because it's very frustrating to have parts cracking. So yeah, now that this is in here, if I push this, you can see the little bar here raises up, and that's exactly what we need because that's going to engage with the next part that we're going to adjust in here next. All right, so now that we changed the order of this, where previously there was an empty couple of studs right here, and then this brick was sitting in here, we're going to now replace that. So we're going to take out this 1x2 brick, and we're going to replace it with these two 1x2 tiles in here. Oh, sorry, 1x2 plates. That's just lowering this whole assembly down by one stud, or one plate thickness, I mean. And that just keeps it level with where it was before, because now with the switching of this is a necessary kind of switching in here to happen. So that just, you know, kind of compensates for that, I guess. So that's that part right there. And the next thing that we're going to do is modify this section right here. So what I'm going to do is take off one of these 1x3s on the bottom, and I'm going to take off the jumper plate on the top. So what I've essentially done is I've lowered this down a single plate height, and I'm going to take those two 1x2 plates from before that we removed from the other section, put those in there, and then I'm going to place this 1x2 modified round plate in here, and then I'm going to put this right in here back on top. So that's just going to keep it, you know, keep it all nice together like that. And then this is going to be the part that that bar right there is going to engage with when the wings are in the up position. So the last thing I'm going to do is just fill this in with a 1x2. It can be kind of finicky to make sure this is lined up correctly, so you may want to just kind of wait on that for a second, but that is going to go in there at some point. So I can reattach this on here like so, and it should be lined up to the same height that it was before. And then now you can see when this goes up, bar goes in. So that's exactly what we want right there. And then that simple little addition of tension is what's going to keep the wings in the upward position where we want them to be. So that's essentially all of the changes that we need to make. So if I go ahead and place this cover back on top, you'll see that those bricks line up there on the side. This portion lines up right here. And then if we go ahead and engage that, you can see it goes to exactly, it lines up exactly with the inside of that bar perfectly there. So that's just what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and place that tile back on there. And then I'm going to place this cover back on top. And then I'm going to place this back onto my X-wing main body portion. I really like how modular and how like sub-assembly based this design is. It helped me to kind of easily figure out how to tweak these different parts of the design. So I think I want this one more stud forward, excuse me, like so. Place the other wing back in there. Bring in my other wings from the side here. And just get those lined up. All right. And there we have it. So here are the extra parts that I no longer need, minus my one failed tile from back here. But everything else is correct and done. And there you go. You can just go ahead and pop those wings up. Really, really gentle motion, and it'll just stay right where it's supposed to be. So that is awesome. Sorry that it took me a little while to figure that out. It was something so simple, but the spacing inside of this gearbox, or this mechanism box in here, is really, really tight, so it just took me a minute to figure that out. And I still haven't figured out how to apply the same technique to the T-70. That's something I'm working on right now, because that has an even shorter, smaller amount of space in here to allow that to happen. So that's something that I'm working on, and I will get that out to you guys right away. And then when I release the T-70 in the gray and blue color scheme, which is coming soon, I'll make sure to have that, you know, be the new technique right off the bat, so you guys won't have to worry about any of that. If that's the version that you're planning to purchase. So yeah, there you go. That's something that I really, really appreciate you guys for holding me accountable for and letting me know that, you know, this is not acceptable, because I want to be able to give you guys the very best products that are available. And, you know, bugging me about it lets me know that that's something I need to work on. And when I get a lot of feedback from a lot of different people, I know that that's an issue that is widespread. So again, much appreciated. All right, you guys, so that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for sticking along with me on this journey as to kind of making the ultimate X-wing here. And thanks for, thanks for being supportive of the 2bricks journey, I guess. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave it a like. If you got the X-wing and you're going to make these modifications, let me know what you think. Let me know if it works for you as well as it does for me. I believe that it should. And be sure that if you're going to order the parts on Bricklink, be sure that you check them right away from your seller to make sure that you are getting that the correct size of plate. And you can just use this method here to test it and make sure that it is the correct the correct bar dimensions, because otherwise that will mess you up. So yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and may the force be with you.